Good morning, LBC Radio. My name is Corey Rosen with the Story Podcast. Today I have a lovely guest, Mr. Ray Taylor. Ray currently resides in Lancaster, PA, but is originally from Baltimore, Maryland. In the fall of 2001, he began attending Lancaster Bible College, where he studied Pastoral Ministry and graduated with a BS in Biblical Studies. And it was there that he met his wife, Erin, in college first gospel choir, in the college's first gospel choir. Wow, that's a wow. They started with a few other students. In 2006, Ray and Erin graduated together from Lancaster Bible College, and they were married just a year later. The Lord led them to serve in the worship ministry at New Life Christian Fellowship through 2007 through 2014, and the young adult ministry at Worship Center in Leola, PA, 2015 to 2019, and currently as the pastor of worship and connections at Lancaster Alliance Church. Mr. Ray.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's awesome.
Tired, but glad to be here.
That is a long list of churches you served for.
Is it? Yeah, I guess so.
I guess three isn't that long, but you know what? It only takes three. To start a list. So what got you first into or inspired to do music?
So I play the piano / keyboard / organ. And so I started at 4. My mom and dad kind of forced me into.
Just want to make sure that it happened before that our audio was not working. So I just want to make sure that our audio is working before we continue further.
No problem, man. Thank you. So they kind of told me I was going to take piano lessons, and I did that for about a year. I stopped because there was this one recital that, every so often, a couple months, you have a recital with all your students. So I could read music, but I hated to at that age for some reason. I could memorize after listening to it one time.
And really? So you were like that good?
Apparently, because
that's
I can just remember like small flashbacks. I remember the scene of the recital, and I remember the practice before the actual recital. The teacher was like, "Now for this recital, you better." In so many words, you better keep your eyes on the note, like keep your eyes on the chord chart. And so I started at the recital, started playing, and then a few seconds later, I'm down, my eyes looking at my fingers, because I just knew it. I don't even know how I knew it, but so I guess the Lord just instilled in me this ability to play by ear.
And that's talent.
So I left I don't know if she kicked me out or if I got tired of it and wanted to stop, but I stopped taking lessons because I don't know. I just didn't like reading music.
No, I'm kind of with you there. I would always I would hate sight reading music. I would just play whatever. I would play it through once, and then I would kind of get the gist of it, but I would always make mistakes. I met one of my piano teachers was almost like that. I would be like, I want to learn this song. I want to learn how to play that. And he would listen through it and just start playing along immediately with it. And I was like, what in the world?
Wow. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. It's definitely a gift that it's only the Lord. Cause oftentimes if I play something, I can't play it the same way twice because something different comes each time. But so yeah, I started there. My dad's a pastor in Baltimore, and ever since I can remember, I was in church. And I started playing on the organ, Hammond organ, I believe at the age of 8 or 9.
It takes talent to play an organ.
Yeah, I couldn't touch the pedals yet though, but I could do the two rows. And on that you don't have any sustain pedals, so I'm like, I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And so literally from that point on, I was playing every Sunday to my knowledge up until into college, into Lancaster Bible College. Yeah. So I would go back home every week on Sunday or Saturday and play at his church. I just kind of started singing late teens at the church because it was, old school, just kind of family, friend, community church. So there wasn't like a worship. I mean, there wasn't the term worship pastor or praise team or anything of that nature wasn't even a thought back then. So you had a choir, you had children's choir, regular choir, musician, and my dad did all of the quote unquote worship leading. So he would lead songs, prayer, scripture.
Yeah, so
sermon.
it's like one of those old like kind of Pentecostally kind of churches.
Yeah. Ours was ours was like Baptist, so more reserved, a little bit, but still, we jump around.
I grew up in a church like that, and it's so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. I miss the good old days. And all we did were hymns. No,
really?
And it wasn't like, why do we have to keep doing hymns? It was just that's all you had.
Did.
It was all you had. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I praise God for that because I love him to this day. But so singing kind of came out of this need at my dad's church to have someone sing before he preached. And lead the children's choir or youth choir. And from there, I wanted to learn how to sing more. And this one time I prayed, I was in college at the time. It was actually before college. I was in my room. Back in the day, you had like the cassette tapes. You could have two dual cassette, and that was the way you could record back then. So I prayed. My grandpa, I think, gave me this player, and I prayed on the floor. I was like, Lord, it's weird. Like back then, I didn't want to preach, but I prayed about like, if you want me to preach, my dad always said like, he's gonna be a preacher, he's gonna be a pastor one day, and I was against it, whatever. And I prayed like, Lord, if you want me to preach, I feel like you want me to do what my dad does sometimes, where he'd sing before he preached, and if you want me to do that, I don't know how to sing. Like, so if this is your will, give me a voice, like help me to learn how to sing. So I remember that day. Teenager, it's weird just thinking back, like the stuff the Lord just, I don't know, lays on our heart or whatever. So that's where the singing started. And I started leading worship after I graduated at an actual church part-time. So I was the minister of music. Still wasn't that the term worship leader was just coming in. And then at some point I had bleeding vocal folds from just not knowing how to sing properly. So for like 8 months or so, I was put on voice rest, total, like complete.
Like you could not speak.
I was able to, but I wasn't
allowed to.
Yeah. So that kind of was a crazy season the Lord provided, and I matured through it. I was still leading on Sundays on the piano. I was still leading practices. I had no idea how. Back then, I used an iPad. This was first generation iPads, and I could use a Bluetooth keyboard because I could type fast. So I led the practice every week through that function.
Wild.
So then I learned how to talk properly. I had a speech therapist, then I had a vocal coach after I could start, talking and singing again. But praise God for that, because I learned how to sing and kind of preserve my voice, etc. So
what was the problem that you were doing?
Just singing without proper breath control. So I would hit high note. Like I naturally can sing higher, almost to alto. But I wouldn't sing properly. So I would kind of just force it. And so the doctor said one bad note must have triggered it. And I have acid reflux, which is kind of, that stinks
issue
on the side. So those two mixed together. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's awful.
I have to watch what I eat and drink.
Yeah. I have so much respect for people that have to like control what they eat, especially because I'm an overeater. I go to like Overeaters Anonymous. If you don't know what that is, it's a good resource for people. It's like Alcoholics Anonymous.
Really?
Yeah, but it's for like bulimics, anorexics, overeaters. Granted, there's this whole body positive movement, so I don't want to,
Yeah.
But if you wanting to help control your eating habits, because there are some people who view food as people that I've seen. Like it's that extreme. But if you ever, so I went to Overeaters Anonymous, and because when college hit, it's a buffet every single day.
Yes. How do you do it?
How do you do it?
Days.
Right, exactly. And there's only a certain amount of choices also.
Yeah.
So I just, and when there's free Turkey Hill ice cream, what are you gonna do?
Oh my gosh, we didn't have that when I was here.
No?
Oh my gosh.
You're lucky.
Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I played soccer and baseball and basketball and all these other sports every day, so I was cut. Then I came to college, and I started gaining immense amounts of weight.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like 310 pounds.
Wow.
And now I'm slowly trying to relearn how to, 3 meals a day, no snacks.
Yeah.
Cut my diet.
Yeah.
And so I have so much respect for people who, I guess they have to do it, but also I wouldn't, if I had to do it, I don't know if I could.
Yes. I mean, same, because now it's normal, but when I first started, like, I can't have tomato products. Pizza, coincidentally, I can have without issue. Okay. Like spaghetti, I love lasagna.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. So back then it was hard. It's like soda, I can't have soda. So parties, like not like crazy drinking parties, but just a normal party, like cookout or something. I'm only drinking water or some apple juice. So that was hard. Yeah. No, lemon's bad for me too.
Oh, really?
For me, specific for the acidity.
That
which
makes
is
sense.
great for most singers. So I can't, I can't have. Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
So. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
Yeah. But it's okay now. It's okay.
That's good. Well, I'm glad.
Good thing I like water.
Yeah, well, I would hope so. Yeah, you would have to be okay with. Are you allowed to have coffee or tea or
no coffee? Tea that is herbal, so like no caffeine in the tea. Coffee is probably one of the worst for my throat.
Yeah, I bet. Did you ever need coffee before or?
No, I never really liked the taste of it.
Oh, me neither.
Yeah, so
I don't drink coffee at all.
It wasn't a big deal.
That's good.
I like the smell of it.
The smell, the smell in coffee cakes is the extent of coffee that I can deal with.
Yes.
But otherwise, no, I cannot drink coffee.
Yeah.
It just makes me go insane because I also have ADHD, so more caffeine isn't going to help.
Yeah.
So you went through this time of not being able to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And was this before you met your wife or after?
After, so that was something.
How did you deal with like communication with your wife? Or I guess
time. Well, so back to my ability, like I prided myself in an unhealthy way in middle school, high school of being a fast typer, like just computer. So I got up to like 100 words per minute. I don't know if they do words per minute now.
Well, I know how fast that is.
Okay, yeah.
We did typing class as well, but that's 100 words a minute. That's fast.
Yeah, I used to love the video games and like this nerdy way I would buy the computer game, not video, but computer Mavis Beacon, all those things, and like just test myself when I was home in my room. So that lended to being able to use the iPad and just type almost not as fast as we're talking, but like fast enough
that it wasn't annoying.
Yeah. So it was tough for her more so.
I bet.
So we grew in like the Lord just established like a great deal of what it means to be patient. In the confinements. Yeah. But the cool thing was we didn't have many arguments because if I wanted to say something stupid,
you have to type it out.
Yeah, and then I could backspace because I would have to look at the screen to type, so she'd be like where we are. So I rarely got in. It was one time though, we were on this vacation of all things, and I was like, forget it. I'm turning this iPad around. It was stupid. Obviously, it was my fault. But,
that's so funny. That's so interesting. Like, because you could backspace that you can't backspace when you're talking.
Yeah, but it was hard doing like fast food or any type of ordering.
I would
have to write down on a sticky note or something. It was really hard.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to commit myself to that.
Yeah, it was tough.
That's definitely a trust in the Lord thing and just do it.
Yeah. So,
do you guys have any children at all?
One.
Nowadays?
We have a 2.5-year-old. He is he'll be 3 in August, so we're almost there. Yeah.
How's it like being balancing your life between what does your wife do? Does your wife also do worship?
No, she can sing. She's a better singer than I am. But she used to at our previous churches, but at this the new church that we're a part of, she chilled. She's a mother. That is her like devoted ministry that she just does well. The Lord uses her in crazy ways, man. Like, it's cool once you get into that area of just seeing your wife as a mother. It's like a totally different level of God's, like,
I bet.
Just how his creative genius and the beauty of a woman, I guess you could say.
There's some things that women can't do, or women can do that we can't. And it's being a mother is one of them.
Yeah. Forget like the pregnancy part, but that's something in and of itself.
But
that's
something completely different. But
the ability to be with a child is a God-given. So she does massage therapy, part-time, I would say. Yeah, if you think about hourly, but so she does it. It's her own business.
Okay.
So it's really cool. So she can do it out of the house or go to someone's house. So it really becomes a great way of being flexible with caring for Julian. So yeah, she does that, and I'm full time at the church.
So how do you balance your life between your child and your wife? Whoopsies. And everything else. How do you think you balance that well, or do you think that there's more stuff you could do?
Great question. I think it's a journey. Just as we're on the sanctification process, it's like I would say I'm not where I used to be, but there is still every day I'm failing in some way, and I think that's
just how it is.
General, aspect of all us in the faith, but
short of the glory.
Yeah. So I think the key in that is being aware, like, but also I have a wife who doesn't mind sharing with me like where I'm falling short at, which I think is a gift in of itself. Yeah. So, it's a hard balance, especially because I'm just still in this transition. I just started at Lancaster Alliance January of 22, so this year.
Right.
And so at my previous job, it was corporate, so it was very structured. You knew what you were going to do. Not much emotional weight to bring home. Like, it didn't really mess with the mental, emotional.
Is that a worship center?
No, so worship center was volunteer strictly.
Oh, gotcha.
I worked in for Case New Holland, agricultural construction company.
Oh, gotcha. So completely different.
So yeah, literal office work. So balancing kind of not being my own boss, but figuring out my schedule,
right?
And going home every day and knowing how to not stop caring about the people that God's entrusted me with, but not forsaking when I'm present with my family when I'm home. And that's the hardest thing, like turning my mind off in that way to like, I'm here with my son right now. Why am I
thinking about work?
Yeah. So, it's tough. So just trying to figure out discipline, what it looks like, healthy, Christ-centered discipline within my own day to day. So
that's been something I've been trying to work out is, okay, when does my work brain need to turn off? When does my family brain need to turn on? When and at any capacity can they both be in tune together? Because there's definitely a time and place for family and work. And but I know there's an immense other opportunity where if you don't focus on your family, that's going to affect your kid, especially in these days when everything is so impactful for them.
Yeah.
So that's been a question we've been kind of talking about on a few different podcasts of my previous shows. Like, well, how do you parent in a way that doesn't mess up your kid? Because the littlest of things, not waving goodbye, you know what I mean? Not giving them a hug or a kiss before night.
Yeah.
Even punishment at that point.
Yeah.
Like discipline. How do you want to mold your kid into the best kid that they can be while also being a good parental figure and not giving them everything they want?
Yes. Yeah, that's speechless because I'm like it's such a journey. Yeah, and I think overall, Erin and I, my wife Erin, we've been learning about how to be intentional. I think the biggest thing for me as of late is a question to myself of how desperate am I for the Lord to empower me to parent versus assuming or false belief that I need to parent. I need to be strong enough or know everything to parent well. So
it's a faith battle.
Yeah. It's and so then like how often do I pray for my child, or how often do I walk into moments desiring to be led by the Spirit, and how I interact.
You said he's 2 to 3. Does he talk yet?
Oh yeah, he talk. He could talk almost just like we're talking.
So how do you bring? How do you call yourself a shepherd? How are you shepherding your own child? At that age, at least.
It's a great question. So he can understand. He even knows emotion. So for one practical thing, I'll always apologize to my son and ask forgiveness if I've done wrong, even if I was justified in like saying something that he needed to hear. Like if my tone goes too high or if I yell, it's not to me, that's not cool. When if I'm reacting versus responding, sometimes my voice will need to be higher, but so like practically in the moment where I got ticked off and I yelled at him, sorry, like, please forgive me. And so to practice that transfer of like, there's this mode of we're always going to be walking in some way imperfect. And I desire for you to know that I'm here with you, same level.
Right.
And that I need your forgiveness as much as you need mine. Trying to build that like relational aspect in a quote unquote Christ-like manner, because he's not in Christ, so he like won't have the Holy Spirit within him, but just trying to mold him in the ways of the Lord. So like one buddy of mine, he said if there's a moment to apologize, he doesn't say to his son, it's okay. He says, I forgive you, to instill like this aspect of forgiveness, like this forgiving God.
If you say it's okay, he's going to do it again.
Right. Like it's not okay. And being able to see so then like in reality, okay, sin is wrong. Like we need a savior, but like there's always mercy.
There's always forgiveness and redemption and everything.
Yeah. So that's just one practice. I could give you a million, but that aspect of just desiring to be Spirit led and not me led.
That's putting a lot of trust in your kid too. It's for him to understand that and respond well to it.
That's where the battle is. Yeah. Because he can understand. There's a lot within. That'd be like a 2-hour but like, yeah, I think that's the hardest part. Like, because I want to, like, the natural is to control in any circumstance.
Especially as a dad.
Yeah. So I want him to do what I say. But it's not about me, so you could list a laundry list of like where we go wrong in that. So like, yeah, there's a lot of trust. Like I had to, so I'm going to church Tuesday, I think it was. I'm getting ready to leave the house. So I have 10 minutes before I really need to leave. And Julian, my son, he doesn't want to listen. So he's throwing the fits, throwing the tantrum. And so we have this process in place that we sit for 2 minutes if it gets to that point to settle him. because there's no discipline or interaction possible. So I know that if I do this once, I got 8 minutes left so there's always this process in I'm back in my mind. Anyways, he doesn't settle after 2 minutes, keep throwing stuff, kicking me, etc. We settle on why that's not good. Tantrum again, 2 more minutes, sit down. Third time, same scenario. He doesn't want to sit down because he's stubborn in the best of ways and in the worst, but just sinful nature, whatever. And so I'm going to be late at this point. Right. So I'm like, take him downstairs, let my wife deal with it, or we need this breakthrough of him like understanding, or I just give in. And so it got to the point where I was like, okay, I gotta figure something out. Lord, help me. I was quiet for 1 minute because I had to settle. And then I said, all right, Julie, I'm going to walk out and you have to do your 2 minutes alone. Then that was the breaking point. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know I needed to do that, but in the moment I did. But it was this point of like, Lord, I think it's going to work. But then you said the trust, like, I know it'll get through to him, but I have to be consistent. And like, so that's the hard point of.
Yeah, I've learned this about a lot of kids, teaching kids, is that if you just leave them alone, they've got nobody to throw a tantrum to. You know what I mean?
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. That's a good point.
So they'll either run it through by themselves and then they'll just be tired.
Yeah.
Or they'll just stop and like, wait, where'd it go?
Yeah.
And then it's over.
I'm gonna take that home with me.
Yeah, well, it's something that it's almost like a superpower.
Oh,
because kids seek attention, and one of the ways they do that is by throwing a tantrum, and they're gaining all this almost positive feedback to keep throwing the tantrum because you're giving them so much attention. But if you just leave them alone, and then they're like, oh,
yeah,
are you? Where'd he go?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
He left me.
Yeah.
I gotta go find him now.
So essentially, that's what it was.
Yeah. So and then by that time he's already forgotten why he's upset because kids forget very quickly. Thankfully.
Yeah. It goes. We're joking on the way down the steps, and I'm like, part of me doesn't want to joke right now, but he's got.
You still remember?
No. The beauty, man, of the God's creation, man. Just. So then I'm met with, man, where's my heart? And Lord, how perfect are you that you almost act like he just acted, where like he remembers our sins no more.
Yeah, and he just continues on. It's always been a challenge for me, realizing that it's always us running away from God. It's never God running away from us.
That's good.
And there's a popular picture that often gets put where it's like a chasm between us, and then the cross is the bridge for us to go over.
That's good.
But it's never that.
That's
it's always God coming towards us, no matter what.
That's good.
God, because even without Christ, God came for the Israelites. It's always a challenge of us running away from God. The cross is only there for us to be eternally with him. God is always going to be wanting to be with us. We are his creation. So it's
good.
Yeah, it's something I've been learning that no matter what, God is coming for us in one way or another.
Yeah. That's good, man. I like that. Yeah. So parent life, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. So being a worship leader.
Yeah.
In this day and age where there's a whole bunch of heresies going around within worship.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna move on from this and talk about something that's been really interesting at LBC.
Yeah.
Like you have like Bethel.
Yeah.
That goes through these heresies.
Yeah.
I think Hillsong even at some point had their heresies, and then they create these worship songs. Do you feel a conviction to not perform those worship songs because they are influenced by these heresies? Or do you just put them on because people like them?
I would say it's funny the last part you shared.
Yeah, well, because
I
there's a ton of people who love Bethel and Hillsong.
So I'll give big picture and then answer
All right.
those. So I think outside of the gospel, like the pillars of the faith, that's like if you don't believe he resurrected, like that's a either cut dry black and white.
Yeah, that's first tier doctrine.
Yeah. So outside of the realities of the gospel, I view pretty much everything else gray, meaning that like it has to be moment by moment or thing by thing. So for instance, like there's an electric guitarist at Worship Center pretty much every week.
Mm-hmm.
There's no electric guitarist at our church, pretty much never. So some would say it's distracting from worship. Some would say they're too loud. Others would say it adds beauty. So the point of reference is there's literally nowhere in the Bible that speaks to an electric guitar. So then you have to be led intentionally, moment by moment, culture by culture, church by church, song by song.
Socially. So it's more by social standards.
What do you mean by that?
I'm not going to bring a guitar to an older church that only sings hymns. Because that's gonna seem like heretical to them.
Right.
Or like a Roman Catholic church.
Yes. With the idea that, okay, if I'm going in with a heart of what do these people need? Like what's not what they want, but like what do you since you know their hearts, like what's your heart for these people this week? What's your heart for these people next week? What's your heart from like what are you saying to me like how I should lead as a believer? And then okay, so I'm good with okay, worship is this. Okay, so how do you now want me to lead people to see what you're saying, that they need? And so all that to say, like there's so many gray areas where people make it black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be more often than not either traditionalism or a lens that they're seeing it through. Could be based off experience or their way or their theology that pertains to that specific thing. So with this, the three pillars of worship music, Bethel, worship, Hillsong, Elevation, worship.
Elevation, that's the other one.
Yes, they've done there's a lot of wrong. Like there's things that I don't agree with Bethel. There's things that I don't agree with Hillsong. There's things that I don't agree with Elevation. There's things that I didn't agree with my previous church, my church before that, church before that. There's things that I don't agree with within myself. So the question is, there's hymns that I don't agree with the theology of. So what's the issue? Okay, so I have a friend who literally went to the Bethel school. I forget the specific name for it. I have a friend who graduated, a couple of friends who graduated from Hillsong College. I have a friend who is the brother of one of the people on staff at Elevation. I know sermons from Pastor Furtick, from Elevation that have literally, like, the Lord has used to bring change within my wife's heart, like within her life. Me too. Hillsong back in the day, forget what it was, Darlene Sheck, I think her name was, but there's so many songs that have been instrumental in whatever you would say, transformation on people's transformational journey. I think, okay, so if we didn't have social media and we didn't have telephones, and we didn't have internet, how would I know what Bethel was teaching? Or how would I even have their music?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Maybe. But how would I know about Hillsong Scandal?
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm just kind of looking at songs. Now, so there comes a point when, like, if I'm writing music and I'm sleeping with another woman that's not my wife, and you know that, and I'm like, here's this music that you should
worship song
that you should go to your church. Say Ray Taylor did it. Everybody will know Ray Taylor's sin, like current sin.
right.
So like, I'm not. In my heart, if I'm following the Lord, which I'm probably not, like you and your conscience, like whatever you want to call it, like you make that judgment call. Probably, I probably wouldn't do that.
Right.
But where in the scripture does it say specifically that if this person does this, or if this pastor does this, or if this old pastor from years ago, or if this worship leader that you now found out from 20 years ago did
right.
this, or if this church is actually doing this, like, okay. So we're going to get...
here's the argument that you could use. David. David slept with Bathsheba.
Yeah.
Yet almost the majority of the Psalms are written by David. Are we just gonna throw those out because he was a sinner?
Right. We look to them.
Yeah.
So I think. So the woman at the well, like, who, if you put that passage and you mirror it with how people bash Stephen Furtick, how people say it's like, if I was a Hillsong Church right now and I was under their banner, I don't know, I probably have to process whether I should remove myself from the banner because of what that might do in terms of a barrier to the gospel going forth. So that's really my only distinction. Like, okay, Lord, what is this particular song going to speak or not speak to the congregation? And if the Lord is really saying, and we're submitting our heart and mind to him as a staff or pastoral team or worship team, and we're saying this particular lyric from this particular passage, really, the church really needs it. I'm more often than not going to go with this particular song if it's from Hillsong.
Right.
That's just me. I'm not. But so then the question becomes: are you saying that sin or not sin? Are you saying that sinful? Like, I'm sinning right now because I've chosen to do that? Like, what's really the big issue? Not saying that there's not an issue. I'm saying, like, but what's really the foundation of judging in that moment?
Right.
So then we have a talk about that, so that's what I'm saying. Like, this, it's such a gray area to where the natural mind, humanistically speaking, you need a side.
Right.
I think it's binary. I think it's
tribalistic. It's
yeah, very
tribalistic of us to think in that manner.
So why aren't we just talking through things? Like, why are we battling on Facebook? Whether it be this. Anyways,
there's so many directions we could take that. Yeah. But it's
anyway. Sorry,
it's good. It's good. It's all
I think
good.
it's just. I think, like, okay. So Jesus is just my heart for. I think right now in the world, more than ever, the world is literally seeing the church divided.
Oh, yes.
Constantly. So what the heck are we doing? Why am I going to continue? Why am I going to keep bashing someone else or condemning someone else? And that's where it gets really, or saying, like, if you do this song or listen to a sermon from a Bill Johnson, you are. I'm questioning if you are really saved.
Right.
Who the heck gave you that throne? And then really, what's your idol? If we're not actually talking about, like, if we're not actually going through the process of, like, okay, Jesus sat with, now he threw tables, right? But why did he throw tables?
Yeah, why? And that's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, that is such the straw man.
Right,
Like people always say, "Well, Jesus threw tables." Well, what was the purpose of that?
Right.
It's because people were using God's temple in an incorrect way. That's the only reason he didn't throw tables because Sally threw a tomato at him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that's not the reason. It's because of this specific circumstance.
Yeah.
That way we can only apply it in these specific circumstances.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue in summary. So yes, I would use based on the situation. Like, what if I'm in a remote country and I have no knowledge of what this person did or who slept with who or who is preaching what heresy, and I have one song to sing in my church in a remote area in a Christ-hating country, and I only have this one Bethel where all of the lyrics in it are biblical, straight from the text. So I'm living in sin because I joined my congregation together when we have one moment without the police coming or government coming and hanging us.
Fair enough.
That's all I got.
Right, yeah.
Or I have one passage from the text. I don't even know what heresy is. I don't even know what it means if one lyric says something different. Like, all I'm wanting is something that I can cling to, like, where I can speak worship through praise or, adoration to the Lord. And I think that's the frustrating thing about culturally speaking, like, who are we really? Like, if we're being cultural, if we're being countercultural, I think it's more Jesus. If we're being cultural and mimicking what the world is doing, I think there's something wrong. So that's anyways,
well, that's a fun can of worms to get into.
Oh yeah, I could keep going, man.
There's some people who I know that would go as far as the only worship songs you can sing are the Psalms, and that's it. Because that's what's in the Bible, so it's good enough for God, good enough for us.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get into that today.
Like the context of where most people were when they wrote hymns, or like, anyways, like it's why would Jesus want us to be in the world if like right. So then the question, okay, so Francis Chan has been thrown up against the wall because of being around people like Roman Catholics or engaging with people that in the charismatic realm. It really frustrates me that someone like, who told you that? When did God tell you about Francis Chan's missional like call for his life to not go in these places where people would actually need the true God? Oh, but since they don't believe what you believe, you stay over here. So then that would go against pretty much almost every place that Jesus went to.
Yeah, that literally goes against all of Jesus's preachings. It literally, you would at that point you're advocating for the woman at the well to be stoned. Almost.
Pretty much. Or like the disciples with, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
or why are you talking to her?
Why are you talking to her? Yeah, it's so fascinating because I've had this happen for me at my college experience because I go out to bars and I don't drink at all because of my there's several reasons.
Yeah,
I don't even like to take the alcohol. My dad wasn't the best.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to deal with it. And it's expensive.
Yeah, right.
But I always go out to these bars and I hang out with my LGBTQ friends at different spots. And they're like, why do you do this? Why are you hanging out with these people? It's like, well, who do you think probably needs the love of Jesus more than a drunken person who's drinking their sobers away?
Yeah.
Or these especially at the bar of all places where you can really get to some people and really help them.
Yeah.
Because at the bar, you can be your most vulnerable person that you are because you're dealing with all these issues, especially in the state we live in right now where the inflation's going wild, everyone's losing money. There's there's war going on, and there's all these different heartbreaks that are going on, and people just want to escape from that by going to the bar and forgetting about everything. What better place to reach out to show somebody that, hey, we love you, even though there's all this hate going on, than a bar and celebrating with music of all things. There are some songs I won't do at a bar because I'm a Christian,
right?
But as long as I can show people, hey, there's light in this world, in this dark world, that's all it's nothing to me.
Yeah.
I deal a lot with the drug scene as well, because with music, it's what it is.
It's cool.
But it's helping people with their journeys, and helping people get sober, and helping people get the rehab that they need, and helping people get the community that they need, because more often than not, people are stuck within a bad community.
Yeah, that's good. Interestingly enough, that parable, was that the Good Samaritan? I think it was, where Jesus at the end says, to be like the Samaritan.
Yeah, who helps the random person.
So like, be like the one who wasn't even
saved.
That resonated with me throughout the 2020, 2021 years of frustration with all the things.
You want to get into all the things?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So for those of you who aren't watching us, Ray is a black person. So I'm curious as to how you have received resistance to any of your lines of work at all, if there was or if there wasn't any.
Any. So yeah, not just ministry in the church.
I guess sure, because that's a hot topic and a half. Racism within the church. So we could start there if you'd like.
So it's all, I was going to say unfortunately, it's all kind of, what is the word? Like, it's not put out front. Like, nobody's calling me the N-word to my face. Right.
It's all smaller stuff.
It's abstract, I guess you would call it, where like, I know, but I couldn't prove it in a court of law. Like, there's no, for instance, like, I know when someone doesn't want me in a place, like in a building or in a store. It's by the way they.
It's the small stuff, like bringing their children closer to them, or there was an ad that was kind of like that, where people like cross the street just to be out of your way.
Yeah,
and kind of smaller stuff like that.
Or as simple as a look, like and so then some would say, you don't know what that person is thinking. Duh. Like, but I've walked through my whole life dealing with it to know the difference. And then often, like, that's a whole can of worms, but because oftentimes I have to meet with the Lord to check my heart whenever I assume, because I'll automatically feel, because it's just unfortunately natural for me to go in a place, especially in the church congregation, and assume that they won't be too happy, or just they won't like the uncomfortable feeling, which I think is actually good to be.
No, it's but more often than not good to be feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, so
at a church at least,
especially because my wife is white, and then tack on. So we have a mixed 2-year-old. So more often than not, I've felt unwelcome walking into a church in this area versus welcomed.
How do you deal with that? Is there do you confront people about it? Do you keep it bottled up inside? Do you go to your pastor about it? How do you? Well, this is things that I don't know. I've never had to experience that.
No, I've never confronted unless it was
outright.
Now you're making me think, which is a good thing. I've never, yes, I've had conversations, but it's never been like, hey man, what you doing? Like, why you doing this, and that? Like,
Right.
it's been like, so my heart is that specifically within the area of ethnicity. So like obviously the gospel, foundationally speaking, a byproduct should be unity. Like like the realities of the gospel brings a breakdown of barriers,
Right.
cultural, worldly barriers.
We're Christian first.
So yeah, so that should already be the heartbeat, right, of me as this black man who is a Christian, or a Christian who is a black, whatever. So
Right.
my heart now, I can't say years past, but my heart now is to pursue. So like, and I just see that from Jesus. So like in 2021, I think it would have been 2020, 21. I went through this long period of just like, white people don't like me. And it was like from actual conversation, not
just
assumption.
Yeah.
And white people don't care. Not all, but like
just a general.
Several interactions led to that. And this was in the height of like
George Floyd,
people, if you say the phrase Black Lives Matter, you're already cut off and you're not a Christian. You are a liberal, Marxist, whoever all the other names are, like
buzzwords.
And so I'm like, does anybody, quote unquote conservative evangelical Christians who would be white actually care to go behind the veil and see why someone would say Black Lives Matter? And it was very few in these conversations. So I intentionally had conversations with a good heart with men, like I can't count on my fingers, many people that were white about this very topic. People, pastors, people, just lay people, you name it, just friends, whatever. And you just wouldn't believe the responses, or like, so then I began to just ask questions of like, okay, why does country matter so much to you? God, country,
right?
Family, like, why is holding a gun or having guns in your house such a normal thing? Why does the flag mean anything? Like, what does that mean to you? Not coming from like, I don't care. Why do you care? But just like, tell me about your story.
What is your purpose behind it?
Because it would almost be like, okay, if I'm called to love God, love people, I want to do what Jesus did for the woman at the well. Like, I want to pursue and go towards people with love, not sitting and waiting for someone to love me, because that's what I was sitting in for like months and months and months. Like, who's going to care about? Who's going to actually love me? So the Lord was just put on my heart, like, maybe I'm calling you to just like go beyond with your pain and pursue those that don't look like you or aren't like you for the sake of the gospel. Like, so get in their life, show them that you care, and break down their wall.
Put your feet in their shoes, and
so that kind of brought a lot of healing, actually, and a lot of pain because of answers and lack of care for. I mean, but then it's hard. Like, I would say I came to Lancaster from Baltimore, racist towards white people. I was fearful. I had stereotype.
Yeah, Baltimore's no joke.
No, man. Like,
Wow.
and I would assume the same thing for someone coming from here to Baltimore. You would have your priest that you probably walk on the other side for fear of your life. Like, so then the question is like, okay, so what in this ministry capacity or church realm, like one of the reasons why I wanted to be a part of this particular church, Lancaster Alliance, is because it's not predominantly black. I wanted to go to, like, I have this passion. I believe the Lord uniquely gifted me, my wife and I, to engage with both communities. And it's not about like black and white thing, but like literally that's one of the big divides that we see. So, growing up in African American culture, being engaged in predominantly white culture up here from 2001 till this present day, I'm able to interact in both realms. And so that's uncommon for most people in general, but also most people in the faith. Yeah. And so I just felt the Lord calling me after all this anger and pain that I went through of like you pursue, you love, you go amidst all of your whatever you have to deal with on a heart level.
God always goes before you. What verse is that? That's Deuteronomy 32:6, 31:6.
Oh, okay, that's like that.
Awesome. Yeah, there's some scripture that I have memorized. It's God always goes before you. It's to that effect. You can talk more. I'm gonna see if I can look it up.
So yeah. So go ahead.
So it's be strong and be of good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid. For the Lord thy God, it's in KJV, but he goes with thee. He'll not fail thee. He will not forsake thee. That's Deuteronomy 31:6.
Yeah. So I just have this. I call it weird, but I mean it's just nothing but the Lord poured in this love that I have just for the body of Christ to be seen by the world as one, so they will know that we are his disciples, plain and simple. And whether it's hard, so be it. I mean, it can be hard, right? But I'm like, if that's like the call of like for us like in general as believers.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be easy being a believer of Christ.
Yeah.
And that's something I feel like a lot of, especially like white Christians, don't understand, because we've been so privileged to not be persecuted or confronted with some stuff. So we don't realize that, or we've been comforted to the point where it's like, well, we're just going to do our Christ thing, American Jesus thing, and not worry about anything else. We'll send our missionaries to Africa, and they'll do their thing in Africa, and that's about it.
Yeah. That's a tough one. That's a whole nother rabbit trail to go down. I mean, but it is what it is. Like, I can't judge that. You know what I mean? I can only seek to, because like, what are you going to do if you grow up in that setting or family?
How else are you going to be?
Yeah. And
it's a matter of just talking to people. And then,
you
ever heard of Daryl Davis? So I've brought him up a few times on the show. He's one of my favorite people to like listen to, because what he did, he's a famous black jazz musician. And one day he started going to KKK rallies and started just talking to people, figuring out why they hate him.
That's dope.
And through that, he's gained over 200 hoods that have been given to him because they, these people, these members left the KKK.
Wow. Wow.
Like super inspirational stuff.
Yeah.
Just talking to people.
Yeah, man.
It brings, and we were talking about this, the last podcast was just like internet trolls or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to that person and talk to them like a human being,
Mm-hmm.
it's so much more rewarding
Mm-hmm.
and so much more life-changing
Mm-hmm.
than just being rude to somebody.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna be rude to somebody, it's gonna shut doors.
Yeah.
But if you approach somebody with the heart of, hey, you're a fellow human made in the image of God. What is making you do this to me?
That's good.
It's gonna make them rethink.
Yeah. Or just ask the question, what about Bethel music?
Oh yeah, right.
In light of this stuff, like, I'm curious. I want to know. Versus, like you said, whatever, the trolling or just like telling somebody where they're wrong, as if that is going to translate to heart change.
Right, because it's never the direct facts that really lead to heart change, which sometimes it does. There are logical people, but a lot of people are pulled more by emotion and by open-ended questions.
Yeah, especially this culture, like this generation, I would say.
Yeah, you're not going to get facts and logic, because facts and logic are facts and logic. They'll do the work for the logical people, but and the political parties have really figured this out. You can swing so many people with emotion and framing and all these other jazz that it's really just gonna force people to be like, well, I have to, because you're making me feel this way or convicting me in this way.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is by asking open-ended questions, being genuinely curious about somebody, and that's how you make the emotional and then logical connection, is by, hey, I'm curious as to why you think I'm a this or a that, or why you think Bethel is a this or a that. And then it just opens that conversation up. And that's what you got to do. Most people are civil if you're being civil.
Without the intent to prove, I think, is a big part of it. Yeah. Like, Jesus really wanted to know. Like, Jesus asked so many questions, even to the woman at the well.
So many questions.
Like, genuinely wanting to know about the why. Actually, maybe I might learn something.
Yeah,
If I ask, you know what I mean?
And that's coming from a person, by the way, who is also God, who also knows everything as well.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have to ask those questions to know why.
Yeah.
So I feel like that just adds that extra layer to it.
Yeah.
Like, he already knew why. He just wants you to spill it out. Because sometimes that's another thing. Just talking it out with yourself is going to help you in so many different ways.
Yeah. It was interesting when I studied the quote unquote, I don't know what you would say, not war between Jews and Samaritans, but the conflict. Yeah. That was also during the heightened race issues. And not that it's not heightened anymore, but it was just so interesting how it directly related to the tension, and how crazy it was for Jesus to talk to a woman, a Samaritan, and it was one more thing. But
literally almost as if a Ukrainian today went to a Russian and said, hey, or they would acted cordially to each other. It's almost on that level. Yeah. So it made sense that the disciples questioned Jesus, but then once again, that's in the cultural norm, and Jesus is constantly bringing this countercultural. So. Yeah, well, I think that's gonna do it for our radio time. I don't know how much time you have left to talk.
Oh, I probably should go by 12, but
okay. Well, we're gonna end the radio session, and where can people find you?
Find me. Shoot.
Do you like perform music at all? Or?
No.
Well, if you,
find me at Lancaster Alliance Church.
Yeah,
that's where I'll be every
Church.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm on social media. I think it's just Ray Taylor. On.
Do you post anything like inspirational or anything, or you just
sometimes
so
I
you're not really like a public figure?
No,
No, that's
I'm
well,
not.
I always ask these questions because I'm asking these gig musicians that are kind of like public figures.
Yeah.
But well, if you want to go worship at a church
like
and see Mr. Ray Thomas, you can go to Lancaster Alliance Church. Where is that?
210 Pitney Road.
Pitney Road.
Very close to Lowe's and Costco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very close.
Well,
Yep.
This has been The Story with Corey Rosen on the radio. It's time to get back to the radio. All right, well.
How do you know what time it is?
I've got clocks everywhere.
Okay.
I've got this clock, that clock, that clock. You know what's the most enraging thing about Lancaster Bible College?
Wow.
One of the most infuriating things. So at the computer lab, all the computers there are different times.
Oh, okay. That's hilarious.
So that's just a stupid gripe of mine. Is there anything else you want to talk about before? Actually, there's a few questions I want to talk about.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you know now that you had wished you had known when you first started music? That is.
Oh, music. I guess what worship means. I guess you could say.
What do you think worship means?
So, I mean, obviously there's the actual like Greek and Hebrew terminology of it. But, like, it's, to me, it's basically, so if you go by the Greek, it's like this reverence of kissing toward or bowing down in like humble submission, but not the act. Yes, it's actually an act in that translation, but like a heart's response to something where you're like, I'm so in awe, or my reverence of this thing or this person is to the point where I would literally fall down and not even be worthy to kiss, like actually kiss, but to kiss toward, or in the Hebrew of like this prostrate or bowing down. So like I see worship as literally just this response to his mercy, similar to Romans 12. But so then my day-to-day or my life is lived out from that view of who I'm in awe of or what I am in awe of. And so in that sense, it's either him or someone else, or him or me.
Right.
Or something else, know. So then I respond from that.
Yeah.
So then actions come from that.
So how do you balance God and so many of other, because there's so many idols that we can have, like your wife, your child, and even, I mean, people are always like, well, social media, and like, yeah, those are idols too, but we often forget that even our spouses, even our loved ones, can become idols above God. Because I would say that you're willing to kiss towards your wife in some aspects. How do you balance especially within like a relationship? Because some people view relationships need to be, God, wife, husband. Is that your view?
I wouldn't phrase it. Well, it's not wrong to phrase it. Sorry. It's just I never thought of it that way. Not saying this right or wrong. But I see it as like, simply speaking, I'm going to love my wife in a Christ-like manner if I'm in awe of the Father.
So it's
going to come from that.
Right. So it's more of a hierarchy rather than a triangle. It's like, if I believe in God, then I will be with my wife correctly.
Right. It's going to. So I can't seek to love my wife more as a and I'm losing the word again, as a, that can't be my goal, I guess you could say. Like, so the goal is I fall in love with him more and more each day. He shows me more of his beauty, the perfection, the ability to provide, the ability, how do you love me in spite of this that just had. So I see something in the scriptures that, like, wow, that's amazing. I'm starstruck. Or like the disciples on the boat. Like, who is this man that even controls? I mean, I've never seen that before. Maybe the winds they were worshiping that at first, but like he can control that. Like, oh man, like so that proper awe, that literally fuels my desire to love. So I'm like looking at her versus, man, if she's on a pedestal or if she's the idol, I'm looking to like get from that idol. Or I'm drawing near to her in an unhealthy way.
Right.
For something that's needed in me. I mean, that's just the heart. So the heart's going to either be filled here or filled
elsewhere.
Yeah. So that's been the issue. That was the issue early on, I would say, in marriage, in worship leading, just in my life, seeking to, until the Lord opened my eyes to see, okay, like all you need is here.
Here's an interesting question that I have found fun to. It's like a thought experiment, like the trolley experiment.
Okay.
If your wife or your child was in danger, which one would you save?
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. I don't know, man. I mean, I think instinctively we would go for our kids, just because that it's a weird love that you can't explain. It's on a
I feel like
level.
People who aren't parents wouldn't understand the caliber of bonding, especially between a mother and a child, because that was literally inside of you.
Yeah. And
you felt it kicking, and you probably felt its heartbeat at some point.
Yeah.
That's a question I find fun, because I think instinctively that little kid has so much more life to live anyway. And if it were up for my spouse versus my kid, I gotta go for the kid.
I honestly think that my wife would want me to do that also.
And if it were reversed, I would want my wife to go for my kid over me. Yeah. Immediately. Yeah. People are always like, "Well, you guys can have more kids." Well,
oh gosh, somebody said that.
It's a valid answer, but it's also like, yeah, but the heartbreak I feel like I would feel is losing a kid is hard, man. Hard mess.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I would rather sacrifice myself for my kid, and I would sacrifice myself for my significant other. But when it comes to the kid or my significant other, it has to be my kid. That's my thought.
Yeah, I can see from the outside looking in with my wife now, like the difference of her love for me versus her love for him. It's not, we're not keep competing. It's just different. It's not an eros. Is that what eros? The different love. It's what is the family love one? Oh.
No, because eros is like romantic.
Brotherly.
It's agape.
Yeah.
It's the agape love of having that child, and it's the most intimate form of love, and that's where I think most parents would settle on.
Hands down, man. Hands down.
Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Me too, man. I loved it. Love it, man. Wish I could stay more.
Yeah, well, I'm willing to have you on again if you're willing to do it again.
Sure.
All right, well, that is going to round out our time. This has been The Story with Corey Rosen and Mr. Ray Thomas.
Taylor.
Oh, I did that again. God bless America.
You owe me something.
Ray Taylor. I messed up his name a few times earlier, but Ray Taylor.
Sorry,
This has been Ray Taylor.
Yes, sir.
With Corey Rosen, The Story Podcast. Everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day.